in the end of the day, you always going to need mentors. You need people to look up to, people that's doing the right thing. And these kids need to see that when I was growing up, all I saw was the drug dealers.
Mm-hmm.
And Ralph grabbed me and said, "Yo, listen, you could go a different route, you know." Mm-hmm. And in school, you saw some of my teachers, they were black. So you're like, all right, you know. And then we had people coming to speak. Because I went to A. Randolph. A. Randolph was a good school,
mm-hmm.
you know. And the reason I went there is my mother, because she read in the papers that 97% of the kids go to college out of there. Because I was going to Brandeis.
Mm-hmm.
I played basketball for Mo Hicks. And she was like, nah, you ain't going there. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But you always need mentors to show you the way that this is not the only thing, you know? And basketball made me see a lot of different things, you know, see other people. And the guys that were trying to help back then, you know, they really were trying to help kids. So, like, listen, you could better yourself. It's not drugs and all this that you see every day growing up. There's other things out there in the world,
mm-hmm.
you know? Because a lot of kids back then, you know, if you didn't play AAU, you didn't leave New York.
Here's Clive Bentick. We spoke about his time as a youth growing up in Harlem. We spoke about him being a mentor. We spoke about him being a mentee. We spoke about him being an assistant coach for 16 years and how that's made him the person that he is today. Again, Clive Bentick. Good afternoon, Coach Clive.
How you doing, Mark? How you doing?
I'm all right. How's everything with you?
Everything is good, man. I can't complain.
Now, as you know, we're doing an assistant podcast, and basically it's to highlight coaches like yourself who have been behind the scenes for some time. How does it feel to be considered one of the top assistant coaches in the Northeast?
I won't say all that, you know, but, you know, I just basically try to do my job and do it the best that I can do it, so the ability I can do that.
Okay. And I'm sure your coaches appreciate it. Now, you've been assistant coach for how long now?
I've been coaching probably Division I, probably 16 years.
What made you decide to say, I'm going to stop playing ball and let me get into this coaching ranks?
You know, it started as soon as I graduated college. My college coach wanted to hire me on staff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was never like a graduate assistant, video coordinator, or none of that stuff. I'm on the stage, and he said, I want you to be part of the staff. And then I was like, nah, I'm all MAC. I'm going to go play in Europe.
Uh-huh.
So I broke my foot in California playing for Bob Gottlieb on one of those touring teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to go back to, I moved back to New York, and I was home. And, you know, and then I realized, like, you know, it's hard to get overseas. I had a deal overseas, but when I broke my foot, it scrapped. I was supposed to go to Croatia,
uh-huh.
but I breaking my foot messed up that deal. So I moved back to Buffalo, and you know, you graduate college, you know, you're off your parents' insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no way to pay for my foot to get surgery, and the doctor that did our team, that was on the team bench when I played, he did my surgery free for me, because I was his favorite player.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I was lucky, and then, you know, I got into coaching because Ralph Menard, who's like my mentor here growing up in Harlem, he worked in Riverbank. He called me one day, and he was like, Clive, you can't play basketball forever if you could coach forever. And it's hard to become a Division I assistant. And this is something that you really got to think about. My advice to you is that you really think about taking that assistant spot that your coach is offering you. Because, you know, guards are a dime a dozen. They could choose from a million guards to go play in Europe. And that really got me to thinking. And I just became an assistant 2 years later. I took a Division III job because my college coach told me just do that to hold down and learn some stuff. And then he hired me the following year. I became a Division I assistant right away.
Now, would you say that that's not the normal track?
It's not in today's, you know, in today's world, you know, a lot of people have to come in graduate assistant, you know, video coordinator, you know, because it's hard to be a Division I coach. You know, somebody gotta really like you. My college coach, you know, he saw something in me from day one, from the first day I stepped on college campus, and he gave me an opportunity, you know, and no one gets to a point in life the way they at without the help of people.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people help me, you know, so I always appreciate a lot of people helping me. And that's another reason I became a coach, is to help other kids like myself. I grew up in Harlem, West Harlem. You know, I grew up with nothing. You know, somebody gave me an opportunity to go to school for free, you know. So, and I try to give that opportunity to kids that's like myself to go to school for free.
No, I think that that's big of you. And what was the young man that helped you make that decision to go back to being an assistant? Your mentor?
Yeah, Ralph Menard.
Well, Ralph saw something in you and the foresight to get you in that profession, because obviously you've made an impact on a lot of kids growing up. Do you think that's the ultimate goal as far as being a mentor, is to help the next generation as much as possible?
Oh yes, you know, especially growing up in the west side of Harlem, you know, there's only two ways out, man. Back then, like, it was either going to be a rapper or you're going to be a basketball player.
Yeah. What did Biggie say?
You know,
Biggie said either got a wicked jump shot or you sling crack rock.
Exactly. That's it. You know, and Ralph, you know, he kept me out of trouble with that. He let me in Riverbank when nobody else could go in the gym, work me out. You know, I went to all the events in Riverbank free. You know, he used to bring me home. He threatened drug dealers in my neighborhood, like, leave that kid alone, don't let him. You know, so I always appreciate him for that. You know, and it kept me out of trouble. But in the end of the day, you always going to need mentors. You need people to look up to, people that's doing the right thing, and these kids need to see that when I was growing up, all I saw was the drug dealers. And Ralph grabbed me and said, "Yo, listen, you could go a different route, you know." And in school, you saw some of my teachers; they were black. So he's like, "All right, you know." And then we had people coming to speak. Because I went to 8th Randolph. 8th Randolph was a good school, you know. And the reason I went there is my mother, because she read in the papers that 97% of the kids go to college out of there. Because I was going to Brandeis. I played basketball for Mo Hicks. She was like, "Nah, you ain't going there." You know, but you always need mentors to show you the way that this is not the only thing, you know. And basketball made me see a lot of different things, you know, see other people. And the guys that were trying to help back then, you know, they really were trying to help kids. So, like, listen, you could better yourself. It's not drugs and all this that you see every day growing up. There's other things out there in the world, you know. Because a lot of kids back then, you know, if you didn't play AAU, you didn't leave New York.
Right.
You know, and it was dangerous. You're not going to another borough back then. You know, you're not going to the Bronx. I'm just stay at home.
Right.
That's how it was.
Yeah. It was you stayed in your own little nook and cranny in your little neighborhood for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, what is the biggest stereotype with black assistant coaches you see?
You know, the biggest thing is that we could only recruit. You know, and to this day, it's probably still seen like that, but I give my college coach a lot of credit because he sat me down. He's like, "Listen, I'm not going to give you this job unless you get your master's." He's like, "You get your master's, you'll be head of all the minority coaches, black coaches, because you'll have your master's." Right. And I was like, "Oh, coach, I had 2 degrees undergrad already. I had a marketing degree and a business management degree." So I was like, "Coach, he said, listen, you're going to take this job. You're going to get your master's so you could be ahead of everybody. And I just don't want you to be a recruiter. You're going to be good at everything." And I took those words thick, so I made sure I was good at everything. I was good at scouting reports. I was good at talking to the players, you know, being able to hold a conversation with people, you know, talking to the kids at camp. I made sure I was good at everything, you know, and that's the biggest stereotype, that we can only recruit. Right.
Yeah, I think that's big, and I think that's pervasive throughout the whole industry. And the premise of this podcast primarily is to shed light on assistant coaches that are bigger and better than just recruiters that can go into the quote-unquote hood and bring out a super stud. I think that's where you stand out, because you've been lucky enough to be in a position to have mentors, and you've been recruiting, but you're really good as far as X's and O's is concerned. Would you say that your next challenge would be to hold down the whole program yourself as the main chair?
Yes, as you know, every assistant goal should be to be a head coach someday, you know. But unfortunately, there's only like 380 something Division I jobs. You know, in Division II, it depends on what you want to do with your life. Me personally, I want to be a Division I head coach someday, you know, and that's my goal, you know. In life, and I know it's hard, because it's hard to get those jobs, you know. You have to put yourself in a position. Sometimes you got to politic, you know. And you know, I'm not big on the politics. I'm just big as I'm gonna do my job, you know. And hopefully, you know, you get recognized for doing your job. And you know, in the end, with the coaching. You know, it all comes down. It all comes down to the type of what do you want to do as an assistant? You know, me, I want to be a head coach someday, and hopefully, you know, with my hard work, you know, somebody sees that and they give me that opportunity.
Do you find it somewhat discouraging that nowadays the quote unquote ball boy from back in the days is now somebody as a head coach? Not knocking those guys.
No, you know, I'm not knocking those guys. You know, you always got to be happy for people, you know, and people, those guys get opportunities. You just hope that you could get that opportunity too. You know, everybody's asking for that opportunity. You know, I don't know one person that's not going to be asking for that opportunity. You know, but I'm not gonna hate on no one. You know, good for that person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, when you grow up with nothing, you appreciate everything. You know, I was one of those guys that grew up with nothing, so I appreciate everything I have. You know, I just want to be comfortable.
Right.
You know, that's just me. To support my family and just live the best life that I can live.
Speaking of, you're expecting a baby now, correct?
Yes.
As an assistant coach, is that a hard job as far as the family structure is concerned? Because you may be asked to move to Alaska to do Anchorage, you know, work at Anchorage.
Yes, you know, you never could be in you could be in a situation you just buy a house. Next thing you know, you get a job. Now you got to figure out what you got to do what you have to do with the house. You know, your wife got to have a job. She can't move. You know, because she has a good job. You know, so you always gotta think about all that stuff. You know, the funny story I got is that our assistant Ron Gangler, he sat my wife down and told her, like, listen, he's gonna be on the road. You gotta accept it. He's gonna be away. You gotta accept it. You know, he sat her down and really grilled her one day. I was laughing, but you know, just to let her know what to expect. You know, and it's a tough position to be in, man, you know, because I could be anywhere. I was just fortunate to be at St. Francis since 2007 in St. Francis, you know, and it's just like Glenn Breaker, my boss, he has never moved out of the apartment in Brooklyn.
Wow.
He went to St. Francis, St. John's, and back to St. Francis, and that's unheard of in the business today, you know. Right. I really lost that. We got fired at Canisius. I went to Lemoyne for like 10 months, and then I got St. Francis. You know, I just been lucky.
If there was one thing that you could change with the NCAA as far as an assistant coach is concerned, what would be that one thing that you would change in a heartbeat, as far as rules and regulations?
That's a very broad question, but the one thing I would say that I would change is I think the amount of time you get to work with the kids.
I agree.
You know, we don't get to work with the kids a lot. You know, you have 8 hours a week. You know, if a kid, so say the amount of time is up in the week, and a kid comes in, yo, coach, I want to go shoot you. You know, you should have time to work with the kids whenever they want, especially in the summertime too. You know, because that's when you really get better. You don't get better during the season.
Right.
You are what you are by during the season. You get better when you put in the off-season work. You know.
Agreed.
So that's the one thing that I would say: more time to work with the players. You know.
I would agree with that. Now, is it going to be difficult 2020-21 classes only because of the situation we're in right now with the coronavirus, with recruiting and stuff like that?
Yes, it is, because right now I'm recruiting from my laptop and text messages and phone calls. Then I'm watching video on Synergy to go back and look, because we have one scholarship available. So I'm on Synergy every day. I've been on Synergy looking at players, junior college players, high school players, you know. So it's going to be hard because it's all going to be off of not seeing the person live. And me, I like to see a kid live more than once. You see a kid once, he plays good. You see him again, you never know. You know, so I have to see a kid more than once. I got to see a kid at least 4 or 5 times. You know, before, because you know everybody has bad games. So now you're in Synergy, you just watching. You could be watching a kid's highlight. You know, that's all you can see is a highlight. Then you go watch a game, and you know you never know. You know, so it's going to be tough, and recruiting is hard. It's a coin flip. It's 50-50. You don't know what's inside of a kid's chest. He's going to work hard, and with the time today, like playing hard is a skill. Not all these kids play hard. You know, they don't know how to play hard. They would never push. Some of them were never pushed to play hard. You know, they were always the best player, the best players on their high school team. And now, when you come to college, it starts over. Right. You were at the ground level again. Everybody was the best player on their high school team. You know, the majority of the time.
You're right. What you said it actually. Playing hard is a skill now. What on the court skill, in addition to playing hard, would you look for mostly as an assistant coach?
Me, you know, I just instincts. If a kid got good instincts and IQ sometimes, you know, and the playing hard again, you know, sometimes, you know, you could get a kid to play hard, you know, because he doesn't know how to do it. But I look for instincts. If a kid, you know, has instincts and his basketball IQ sometimes, you know, because that's hard to teach. Like, some kids could be book smart and not be court smart. Right. You know, and then you got the other kids that's court smart, but then you really got to help them off the court with the books, you know? Yeah.
I would think that on your end with the instincts component is you can tell a player that's been drilled too much as opposed to just being that's playing.
Yeah, I say it all the time because, you know, when I was coming up, you know, we played 21 in the park all the time. Yeah. You know? And these kids don't do that now. It's video games. They got more distractions. I lived in the gym. I used to go next door and ball my friend's court at 8 o'clock in the morning. I lived up, put it on a fire escape. They don't do stuff like that now. You know, everything is just instructions. Do this in the cone. You got to play 1-on-1. Got to play 3-on-3, 2-on-2. That's how I grew up.
Yeah, you're right. Did you find that that's hard to transition or convince a player of today as a coach that what it really takes to be successful as a player? Is that hard as far as explaining to them?
It is, you know. That's why, you know, a lot of people, when they don't see, that's why the transfer portal is like that. Because a lot of kids come in and they don't see instant success, and they cave in. Like, yo, I'm going to give up. I'm going to go someplace else, you know. Sometimes it takes a year to adjust to college, you know, basketball. It took me a year to adjust, you know. But everybody's looking for that instant success right away, in which that's not real life. That doesn't happen all the time. Right. Even in the real world, when you get a job, you're not going to start off making $1 million a year. You got to build up to that. Right. You know. No,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, and that's what, you know, we try to explain to a lot of guys, like, you know, it's all right if you don't play a lot of the freshmen, but you work yourself in the summer and you come back, the better. Right.
Yeah, I think that if you would have polled the freshmen after the end of their freshman year compared to their high school senior year, they would think that they were working hard as high school seniors until they have to work hard as college freshmen.
And I agree.
And I think that's what leads to the transfer portal, because they don't know how to work hard, or they swore they were working hard until they have to work hard in the summertime in June and July, first and second session, when they have to really bust their ass. Do you think that that's where you really test their mettle?
Yeah, because, you know, and then another thing that leads these kids to transfers now, especially at our level, is success. The ones that are successful. They're successful at our level, and they look to transfer up. You know, so that leads to a lot of the transfer. But you're right. The kids come into high school, you know, and they think they were working hard in high school. Then they get to college, it's a whole new ball game. You know, and it's hard for some kids to adjust to that, and it's hard for some kids that are like who have never been told no. Right. You know, you're not doing that right. They've been told yes. Everybody tell them, "Oh, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that." Instead of always telling the kid the truth, like, yo, you have to work harder, you have to get better, you have to get to the gym, you know. And I just think kids need to hear that, you know, instead of always praising them all the time, you know. Right. And that's the one thing, you know, me growing up, you know, I didn't hear that all the time. Guys were always like, "Oh, you got to get better. This guy's better than you." I remember Ralph would always tell me, "There's a kid in Oklahoma shooting right now. Why are you not in the gym?" You know, I would run to the gym. You know, stuff like that. You know.
Now, do you think that's your job as an assistant coach, to be honest with the kids as far as once they land on your campus?
Yes, that's the one thing, man. I'm not gonna lie to no kid. When they're in the team, I'm gonna tell them the truth. Like this year, a kid he came to me. He's like, "Yo, coach, why I'm not playing?" I was like, "Listen, the guy in front of you is practically all league. There's a reason you're not playing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's better than you right now. That doesn't mean that you can't work in your game to play with him, take the guy next to him spot, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but or work with him to get some minutes. You just have to work, but you got to realize sometimes you got to look in the mirror like, yo, this guy's better than me. I'm gonna work my tail off to get to his level, you know. And kids don't see that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So we got guys, and we had guys on our team. They're questioning, why I'm not playing. Like, yo, listen, look in the mirror. The guy in front of you, he's working hard on you in practice. You know, you have to get up to his level, and you have to work.
Mm-hmm. Now.
And coaches can only play 8 to 9 guys. You can't play everybody in the team.
That's true.
You got to separate yourself, and everything matters. You don't want to do your schoolwork, and this guy's doing his schoolwork, and we don't have to worry about him off the court, but we got to worry about you off the court. Why should we trust you on the court?
Right.
You know.
Now, being that you put in 16 years, have you taken more of a mentorship role with the younger assistant coaches coming up?
You know, some guys email me, text me,
Mm-hmm.
ask me questions, and I try to always respond to those guys, you know, being in the position I'm in, because I'm lucky, I'm blessed to be a Division I assistant, you know, doing something that I love. You know, not a lot of people work and do things that they love for the job to feed their families. I'm doing something I love. Basketball is like my life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, since I came to this country. That's the only thing that I know. So, but when those guys email me or shoot me a text or they call me, I make sure I respond to every single one of them, man. And to let them know, because, you know, I had a guy, he emailed me this year, asked me, how did I become an assistant? I had to explain to him, like, yo, I was lucky, I was blessed, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't have to do all that stuff, you know. He appreciated that, you know, and I just told him to work hard and hope that your hard work is recognized with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because somebody's always watching,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Well, we're going to conclude this, and I want to say, can you let the people know who you are? Who are you?
My name is Clive Bentick. I'm the associate head basketball coach at St. Francis College in Brooklyn. You know, I'm just a regular kid from the islands that came to the U.S. Grew up in Harlem. It just loved the sport of basketball, and the sport of basketball led me to my profession to this day. Made me go to college for free education, you know, which my mother probably couldn't afford.
That's beautiful, man. Thank you, sir.
All right, no problem, man. Appreciate it, man.
The same here.
All right.
All right.